Many of us suffer from addictions to bad habits, and we're only human, so this is nothing to be afraid of. This is nothing to be scared of. But you have to start by acknowledging the bad habits in the first place. There are many things that can hinder your progress as an individual, many vices that you can have in your life. An example of a bad habit or an addiction that might be hindering your progress is an alcohol addiction, for example, or an addiction to PMO, which is pornography, masturbation, and orgasm. You see, the problem with these bad habits is many of us let them get the better of ourselves, and this is how we remain stuck in these bad habits or in these cycles of carrying out these activities that are going to hinder our progress, right? And so let's just talk about an addiction to alcohol, for example. You have to acknowledge that you're addicted to something. You have to acknowledge that a bad habit exists in your life in order to better deal with it, or to better manage it. And so what I mean is that if you're wanting to improve your life, your circumstances, if you're finding it hard to overcome an addiction, the first thing you have to do is acknowledge that addiction. You have to take responsibility in your own life. One thing that I've found on a journey of self-development and self-improvement is that you as an individual, as a person, are in maximum control of your own life, your reality. And so any circumstances you find yourself in, anything that happens to you, anything that has happened to you has been something of your own doing. You have made that happen. You have manifested that for yourself in your own reality because you are powerful as a human being. You are in control of your consciousness, which means you are in control of your decision making, which means anything that arises from the decisions that you make is something that you've decided to do yourself. It's something that you've manifested yourself. And this is when we begin the discussion of the manifestation of your own reality. So if you're finding yourself in circumstances where you are consistently in the midst of carrying out bad habits, perhaps you're addicted to something, perhaps there's a vice in your life that you can't seem to shake off, then look, you are choosing to revere down that path. You are choosing to let that bad habit remain in your life. You're choosing to let certain things happen. You're choosing to be in those particular circumstances. The minute you acknowledge that you are powerful and that every decision you make is gonna change or shape the outcome of your life, then you will really begin to take control of your reality and basically be able to do anything you want to do, including ridding bad habits. So let's go back to the addiction of alcohol, for example. Many people who are addicted to alcohol tell themselves that they are drinking for a reason. Perhaps they had a bad childhood, a bad upbringing. Perhaps they are struggling with things mentally, right? Perhaps they don't have a good social life. Perhaps they are trying to heal from past trauma. And so they tell themselves that they constantly want to drink, right? They need to drink in order to relieve themselves of this pain. When in reality, if they simply acknowledge that they are addicted to alcohol, then all the reasons as to why they are drinking begin to show up in their lives. And if that individual wants to truly help themselves and break free from this addiction to alcohol or whatever vice that someone might be addicted to, then by simply acknowledging that addiction, by realizing that it's there, they will begin to be able to make better decisions in order to heal from the reasons as to why they might be drinking alcohol or be addicted to a particular thing, for example. Many people stumble at this first step. Simply acknowledging that you're addicted to something is a difficult thing to do. But once again, we are only human beings, and so it's important not to talk yourself down or to beat yourself up for having an addiction to a bad habit, right? I remember when I started my journey of NoFap, I began to realize how addicted to porn and masturbation I actually was. Whereas before, I would simply tell myself that watching porn and masturbating was normal. When in reality, when I actually embarked on a journey of NoFap, that's when I realized that my addiction was detrimental and that I needed to deal with it and that it needed healing. But in order to begin that healing process, I needed to acknowledge my addiction. And so once again, the first step is to always acknowledge, because by doing this, you are giving yourself more chances or more possibilities to better deal with the situation. Instead of drinking the alcohol, instead of watching the porn and masturbating, you might do something else, like go for a walk, or you might go for a bike ride, or you might just make a better decision that is going to help you in your life rather than continuing with the bad habits. And so as I've continued on my journey of self-development and self-improvement, what I've told myself is that anything that I decide to do is something of my own doing. It's my own decision. And so if I'm addicted to something, or if I have a bad habit, that's because I have chose it to be there, right? I want it to be there. I want it to be in my life. Let's not forget that everything happens for a reason. So if you're addicted to something, perhaps a bad habit, then it's there for a reason. It's there to teach you a lesson. It's there because you want it to be there. The minute you make a conscious decision to remove that bad habit from your life, then you will be able to do it, because once again, you are in control of your own mind and your own consciousness. So bad habits exist, of course. We are only human beings, but they exist primarily because you want them to be there. Once you no longer want something in your life, right? Once you want to improve bad enough, then it's easily done. Divine Masculine Tantra. I hope to see you on the next video.